currently reaching the 18th and final week of our college basketball season when it comes down to non-postseason play. Obviously, the SEC tournament is next week, and then obviously postseason when it comes down to championship tournaments. Here we are as a team, as a unit. I think we've gotten better week by week. Um, Conference is what it is. I've documented that how tough, how difficult it is night in, night out to play against the level of coaches and the level of players that we constantly and consistently play against. Again, I think we have a 14-team NCAA tournament conference. 14 out of 16 teams are deserving. We look at the analytics, you look at the stats, and obviously you never know what happens in a situation in postseason that could give a 15 team an opportunity. Who knows? But all that to say, this last final week is very important to several teams as its implications for our SEC tournament and also standings as we finish up.
Questions for Coach?
Dennis, last time you guys faced Oklahoma, obviously Mark had a huge day. What did you see going into that, and what do you expect differently out of them trying to defend him this time around?
So Porter Moser said it best in his press conference. They were taking away shooters, and our guys ended up opening up the lanes for Mark Mitchell to finish around the basket and obviously having scoring opportunities. That game, we only made 4 threes. We were 4 for 12 from 3. And we just took what the defense gave us. I truly believe, Oklahoma is a great team. They're an NCAA tournament team, and obviously they shoot a different percentage at home than they do on the road. And out of their 4 conference wins, 3 of them have been on their home court.
Coach, if it's going to be a 14 bid league, the SEC, Oklahoma's probably going to be around about that 14 line, about that 14th team. Is there a different intensity you have to play going up against a team that is kind of fighting for its NCAA tournament life right now?
I think your identity as a team is consistency. You just got to be consistent, and that's my concentration and message to our guys. We know what's on the line. It's March. It's March and it's conference season. And everything that we do and say has to match. And we have to go out and give our very best because we don't want to take steps back as a team. And sometimes you can play well and still lose a game in this conference, but we have to go out and give our very best and understand Oklahoma's going to continue to do the same thing just because we know the level of play. And we also know how difficult it is to win on the road.
Coach, what is the challenge with some of these teams who you've played once on your home floor and beat, with then facing them again once you've both seen each other play and gone through that? What's the challenge of prepping for these kind of second matchups?
I think the second matchup in just is all preparation. Teams get a feel for each other. Team gets obviously a sort of reinvigoration of redemption. But the most important thing is, that when I look at our conference, it's what you do before the game or the game before that game. Are you recovering how you need to recover from the standpoint of the emotional and mental toll that the season can put on your players? And we have to just be able to bounce back and be able to play our brand of basketball, minimize our mistakes, and execute.
Coach, Vanderbilt grabbed 18 offensive rebounds on Saturday. Now they've had a chance to debrief. Why do you think that happened, and what do you want to improve in that regard going forward?
They did a great job. I think some of those basketballs were dead ball offensive rebounds. We got to secure, but we got to do a better job blocking out and obviously pursuing the basketball. It's just that simple. I think our guys were a little in a sort of midway point where they thought someone else would get it versus themselves. So some of those basketballs, while you're sitting there watching, a player would come in between 2 of our guys, and we just wasn't aggressive in that area. And I thought we've done a good job up to that point in certain areas, but I credit again Vanderbilt for their ability to go pursue the basketball. And obviously, Manning, who did a great job of igniting their play.
Dennis, really felt
Along
like
the
Anthony had an impact, in the second half of that game on Saturday. What did you like that you saw from him? Obviously not the result you wanted, but what did you like about his outing?
Yeah, I saw instincts. I saw aggressiveness. I saw a kid grow again before our eyes. It was great to see that. I didn't see any hesitation from Ant Robinson in that game. And he had a big time defensive or offensive rebound. And I was able to call a timeout in that situation. But he put two halves together and he picked his team up when his team was needed. And that's what a point guard does. Picks his poison, try to figure out how to insert himself aggressively, and he was able to do it.
2 of the last 3, I think your opponents had, over 40 points in the paint. What have you seen defensively that's lacking there? Where do you need to turn that around?
Well, which games are you referring to?
Arkansas and Vanderbilt was, I think, 44 and 48
Okay.
with the numbers.
Yeah. So when you think of Arkansas game, it was 37 free throw attempts to 17, and we were doing a lot of fouling. So that contributed to their paint touches, right? Our inability to aggressively stop downhill drives and stay out of foul trouble. When you look at Vanderbilt, theirs were a little bit different as well. Theirs were more so offensive rebounds and fouls and also drives in the second half. And we still had to put ourselves in position to win the game because we offset it from our other areas. But we just got to take care of the basketball. We got to defend how we need to defend, and we'll do a great job getting the outcome that we want. But those are the similarities and the differences of those 2 games specifically.
Coach, you did a good job against Oklahoma last time, containing Jeremiah Fears and Jalen Moore, which are 2 of their main scoring threats. How do you plan on doing that again while also making sure that players like Duke Miles or Sam Godwin don't erupt based off the pressure you're putting on Fears and Moore?
Well, again, Oklahoma's an NCAA tournament team. Porter Moser has done a great job. And when you look at their wins, is one thing. When you look at their losses, they could have easily been above a 500% team in this conference. When you look at the games that they lost, look at LSU game that they lost at the end. Look at their previous game against Kentucky at home. Those are wins in my eyes that may not have been categorized, but they played well enough to win those games. And we just have to do a great job, personnel based, understand who we're going against, understand because we're switching defense, understand who we're guarding and defending at that point in time. And we got to make sure we close out possessions, as you guys mentioned before. And if we do a good job closing out possessions, shooting percentages go down, and obviously our rhythm goes up.
Can you just talk about how you kind of choose to manage Caleb? Obviously, a guy that can get hot at any time. It was 2 for 12 from 3, I think, in the last game against Vanderbilt. So obviously did a lot of other things. Moving without the ball, he had 20-plus points. But just kind of how those conversations go when it comes to him continuing to shoot, even when he's having a cold night.
Well, I don't think Caleb Grill ever has a cold night because part of his strength is attempting those threes. And every time he attempts one, it gives us opportunity to either offensive rebound because he has 1 or 2 guys flying out, and it spaces the court. So I want him, Jacob Cruz, Marquez Warwick. I want Ant Robinson, Tamar Bates. I want Trent Pierce, all these guys to be able to consistently knock down 3-point shots and take them. I want to stay aggressive in that area because it opens up so much for our team. And what Oklahoma did last game, they just minimized our entire attempts, and their attempts were low, but we made 4 out of 12 and only total of 12 3-point attempts, but we took what the defense gave us and we were able to get to the foul line. We were able to shoot a high percentage from the field. And that's where you have to adjust in game. And that's what we'll be willing to do. They'll have to figure out how they're going to guard us and see what works. Both coaches, myself included, including Porter Moser, will make in-game adjustments as we always do on the fly. And that's what this conference is about. We're not going to do anything that surprises them. They won't do anything that surprises us. We got to be able to finish out these possessions and be as consistent as possible while we're doing it, and go into a tough road environment on another senior day, right? Another senior day, and make sure we go out with our details leading the way.